Hello everyone. Thanks you for joining this session. So if you remember last week, we have discussed about some kind of valid scenarios in that we have seen, okay, if you are out of country, if you don't have your personal laptop, not trusted thing, how we can use some public computer and public Wi-Fi and can also able to do all those transactions and can also able to share those things. That time, you guys have asked few questions. One question from the team was like he just want to understand in detail how actually Tor works. So here we will see with the example of this diagram, and you will get to know how actually Tor works and how it protects your data from other vendors. Okay. So let us suppose this is me and I just open a site, maybe any HTTP facebook.com. So I'm not talking about HTTPS, I'm just talking about HTTP because if this is off, Tor is also off, right? Then I either would be connecting through internet using Wi-Fi or maybe by Ethernet port through the router, which is okay. So if any hacker will able to get access to the Wi-Fi, he will able to see which website you are visiting, what username and password you are entering, and what is your data, what are your locations. So everything this hacker can be able to see if they get access to your Wi-Fi. Okay. Now, let us suppose if hacker itself is not there, how things would happen. Once you are visiting this site, you will be sending this to ISP. You might be thinking, wait, what this ISP is? So if you're using Wi-Fi or Act FiberNet, so your ISP is Act FiberNet ISP. Okay. And if you are using Geo, Airtel, so whatever Wi-Fi provider you are using, those are your ISP. So ISP means itself is Internet Service Provider. So let us suppose if I'm using Geo FiberNet, so Geo system admin can able to see which site you are visiting, what are the things you are putting, they can able to see because the traffic which you are sending is not encrypted because we are just sending with HTTP. But you know, most of the time, right now, we are using HTTPS. So let's make it enable. Or before enabling it, we will try to complete this flow. So ISP can able to see what you are doing. Then after that, in the middle, after that also everyone can able to see what you are doing, even which site you're visiting, what username password you are sharing, or whatever the data you are transmitting, because those are not encrypted. Anyone in the middle could able to see everything. Even there should be an ISP on other end and the site, they can also able to see everything. Okay, so this is the case for simple HTTP. Yeah, anyone has any question or anything they can ask? Any doubt here for HTTP? If no doubt, yeah, we can move further. So let us suppose we are okay, we are not trying to use any HTTP right now. So we make it enable HTTPS. So HTTPS is now on. Now, if any hacker would able to hack your Wi-Fi signal or something, he might able to see, okay, which site you are visiting and what is your location. He might not able to see the data, the user, the name, the password, because all things are encrypted. Even your ISP can see how many times you have visited facebook.com or you have visited dark web or you have visited any other website. Let us suppose I can easily see if you are visiting HDFC Bank website, that means you have a account on HDFC Bank. And what are the other things you are? If you are going to Gmail, that maybe your email account is linked to Gmail. If you're going to Airtel website to recharge, I can guess it like you might be using Airtel SIM a lot, right? So at least these information they can see. All other man in the middle can able to see all those information. Even your site and other side of the ISP means internet service provider of other end can also able to see everything. Getting my point? Till here, anyone has any doubt, feel free to ask. Okay. If no, I will move further and we will discuss now how Tor will change this thing. Because the issue is ISP knows everything what you are visiting. So what they do, so you might say, okay, what they will do. So in India or in most of the countries, ISP main business is to sell out all those information. So what you are visiting, all those information ISP sells, even if they don't sell, there is someone who can able to crack ISP data because those are not in a very high security or not fully encrypted, and they can fetch all those information because they have this, so your ID and what are the things you are doing, every information they will be having. So even if police want this information, lawyer want this information, ISP has to provide it. Even right now, all other advertisement company have all those information by default because ISP is notorious to sell all those things. Okay, so all your information is there. If anyone has any question, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to explain the Tor. So let us suppose I enable the Tor. Okay, so now what are the things everyone is aware of? Hacker is not aware of what site you are visiting. So even they don't know whether you are visiting Gmail, Proton Mail, or any other mail. They don't know whether you are using which email, right? Which site, they don't know. Which username, password you are using, they don't know. What data you are sending, they don't know. What are the information they have? They can see that you are using Tor and they can see your location. Okay. The same way ISP can see someone from Mumbai is using Tor and the location is Mumbai, but he can't say what you are visiting using Tor browser, whether you are visiting any other unofficial website or official website, they are not aware of. Even anyone in the below or the mid, like Tor will be using some relay, just think like a VPN, they will also not be aware of what are the sites you are visiting, even what are the username, password, and data you are sharing, they are not aware of. Similar like in ISP, and they will not be aware of. Only the site might be aware of, but the thing is, site don't know the one thing, the location. Okay, so site will be aware of, yes, there is someone who is accessing our website and he's putting this username and password, which seems to be correct, and he's trying to send his data. He is using Tor, but from which location he is not aware of. So if ISP wants what you are doing, they cannot able to understand well. Site, which site you are visiting, they will not able to understand from where you are visiting those sites. Okay, so this is the benefit of using Tor. Okay, you might ask how it is different from VPN, right? So in VPN case also, you will not be having this relay. Think like ISP will not be aware of you are using location. They will see instead of Tor, you are using some VPN provider. Okay, they can check this thing. But site also will be knowing that you are using this VPN and he might not be aware of your location. But the problem is VPN will be aware of all those information. So if they want, they can talk to VPN guys. They can have some legal information or something and they can able to get your location easily. until or unless you are using some kind of VPN which has a no log policy. Through that, you might not be having the logs. But if something, let us suppose, even I'm not sure, is anyone is using VPN or any of the VPN you might have used or you are aware of? Anyone have used VPN before? Or which VPN would you think is okay? Or anyone, if you want to use which VPN you will use later?
Mulwad VPN.
Okay, okay. Why will you use Malware VPN? Means I just want to know means when like yes, okay, let us suppose someone would say I would use Proton VPN. Okay, let's take an example. Someone would say I would use a different VPN. So why people would prefer malware? Because you don't need to create an account. Because once you're creating account, let us suppose you might be having this email ID like Shivam at something.com, right? But if Gmail wants to know your location, he can easily able to track it. Maybe. So the same way, even if you're using Proton VPN, it is also a safe VPN. It is also providing no log policy and everything. But if you're doing very, very sensitive stuff, like you are sending some critical information to any newspaper, which you don't want to reveal your true identity, then I will also say avoid Proton VPN. Why I'm saying this? Because even if you are using Proton VPN, you have to log in your account. In that, they will ask, okay, use any Proton email. Even if you use the temporary email, that also have the registered IP address which you have used while creating that account. Even if you have used VPN, there should be some trace. So even there is a possibility they can trace you back and they can find your real identity. But malware in this case, like you don't need to create an account. What you can do is you can just use a Tor browser and you can also make the payment through BTC or something in that, or maybe other coin as well. In that, you don't need to tell your true identity because you're not using debit card, credit card, all those things, and you don't need to create an account. So you will get an ID once you make the payment, and after that, you can use it and do that. So even they want or malware founder wants to know your real identity, they will never able to find it out. Okay, so this thing you have to be aware of if you are using VPN for any kind of critical thing. And most of the free VPNs, they keep having the logs, they keep checking what are the things you are doing, and maybe they might be selling it as well, we don't know. Okay, so till here, anyone has any doubts or anything? Otherwise, we will move further and see how you can install Tails and use it. Because, okay, I will ask one question to everyone. If I'm using HTTPS, if I'm using Tor, then even ISP knows that I'm using Tor, right? So if there could be some suspicious activity happens, they might give this information to police. And even if you are not doing anything wrong, like you are learning some hacking stuff on dark web, then itself you might be a suspicious guy because you are using Tor here. So do you know is there any way, like, because this can create issue later if governments wants to check how many people are using that and they might not be doing good thing, you might be in one of the list who is using that. So what are the things you can do, or is anyone feel this could be an issue later? One thing you can do is like you can use VPN before using Tor, but that will make the whole connection very slow. So maybe I will explain you little more what are the things you need to do, because you may not use VPNs a lot once you are using Tor, because until unless you don't have a very good knowledge about how both things would work, I don't recommend anyone to use both of them. Even then you will say, okay, how I can remove this Tor? Then you have to use bridges. That we will cover it in this station. So let us suppose, okay, so we have covered Tails OS last week, and in that we have seen why we should use it and why we cannot. Even if it is booting it from USB, that is okay, because even you can boot Linux and Windows from USB as well. But the benefit of this, the file system and all those things are read only. So whatever you are doing, that get erased once you shut down your laptop. Okay. Now, how to install it? Let's suppose I have a 4 GB of pen drive. I want to use this TelsOS, just want to try it. What you can do is you go here, and let us suppose if you're using Windows, you just need to download Tails for your USB stick. So you can come here, it is showing 2.0 GB, but ideally you should have around 4 GB of pen drive, because the whole thing you need it, the file system and once. So what you need to do is just download this. So once you click there, it will start downloading it. It might not take much time, because once you install it, you also need to make sure the file which you have installed is correct or not encrypted, because you are doing so many privacy stuff. If something is wrong itself in this image, there could be so wrong, right? So once it will get downloaded, you just need to verify the download file. Even you can use this PGP signature offline itself. Even if you don't want, once it get downloaded, you can load this file. And okay, so you can load this file and you can check whether the file is correct or not. So we will go here. Okay, it will not take much time. So here what you are trying to do is, what you have downloaded it, you want to make sure the file is correct. So it will check all those hashing and everything. And once everything is correct, then you just need to flash this image. So this is just like image.img extension. You just need to come here. Maybe if you want to install it on Windows, you can click here. But before, I just want to verify it, like everything is correct. So verification successful. This at least, if you want to don't want to do third thing, at least download it. But second, verify your download is mandatory. Once you do that, just go here. Or if you have any of the flasher, that you can also use it. If you don't have, you can just download Rufus. So that is like very legit one, or very simple one. You can just search Rufus download and you will find this website, the official website. Like you just want to create a bootable pen drive, you can download this Rufus, and what you just need to do is you just need to select the file from here, which is showing ISO, and ideally it should be IMG. And after that, you don't need to touch these things until unless you are not aware of what these things are, and just start click. It will flash the pen drive with this image which you have downloaded it. And once it get downloaded, second thing you have to do, you have to change your boot sequence. Okay, so what happens in the laptop, always once laptop will boot up, it will check the boot sequence. So bootloader will always be there. everything, even if you're using a mobile phone, even if you're using a laptop, even if you're using an Android TV, all those devices comes with a bootloader which will load the operating system. So here, once you're booting it up, you just need to tell the sequence number. So these sequence number, you need to change it in the Windows machine. Like you might need to change it and make it that first priority. Once bootloader will boot up, it will see whether there is a pen drive connected and that is bootable or not. If it is connected, it should load that OS. If it is there or not there, it will start checking the OS in the operating system. So this is the set of rules. So ideally the set of rules, you can change it like, think like this. I just want to find it my laptop. So if I know, like I need to check first my hall, maybe my personal room, or maybe in the kitchen. The same way you can choose the step, which step you have to follow to find an OS. So what happens? So this is the whole thing which we have discussed. You can download the roof first. Once you download it, you just need to select the ISO or the image. And after that, you just click on start and it will start loading it. And once it is done, your pen drive is ready. That 8 GB pen drive is ready. And even if you are using any public device, you can boot your system using this 8 GB chip or the pen drive. But for that, you just need to make sure you just need to change the boot sequence. So for that, they have also given here, you just need to go to the boot menu. Every vendor will be having a different bootloader. Like HP have HP bootloader. Dell will be having their own. So you can also go to their website and you can find it out. Here also you can see it. And once you choose the boot menu, so here you can see there are four sequences they have added. So what are the four sequences? The first sequence he has put is removable devices, means pen drive, SATA drive, or any drive. If it is a bootable, it will boot first. If it is not connected, it will start looking for an operating system in hard drive. If it is not there in the hard drive, it will start looking for an operating system in a CD-ROM. If it is still it's not there in the CD-ROM, it will see whether any Ethernet is connected or network boot can be possible. If it is possible, it will try this. If none of them is not working, bootloader will stuck and it will show I'm not able to find any operating system. So what you have done is by default, maybe the second would be in the first and the first would be in the second or third. He has moved this removable device in the first and make hard drive in the second. Once you do, so this is the one time you have to do, and maybe in the most of the laptop it might have already there. So if it is there, you don't need to do it. If it is not there, one time you just need to change the sequence because you just want to boot the system from the pen drive if it is connected. And even if it is removed, it will be booting the same Windows machine. The laptop is there. Once you do that, you will see this type of window and it will start Tails 7.0, which is the version, the latest version right now. And once it loads that, it will always ask you the language, the keyboard input, and the format. Once you choose that, you can simply click on Start Tails. And once you click that, what you have to do is if you want to connect to the Wi-Fi, you have to tell the Wi-Fi username and password each time it is restarting. Because as I have mentioned, that this file system would be read only. So whatever you are doing, whatever you are saving, even if you have created a file in desktop, like my personal information.txt, it will get removed once you shut down your system. But let us suppose I don't want to keep putting some Wi-Fi because I'm using Wi-Fi, the same Wi-Fi every time. I don't want to keep putting the username and password every time. some information you can store as a persistent storage. So this is a persistent storage section. Once you click over there, it will enable that. But for persistent storage, you have to create a password, which you need to remember it. So every time once you open or start the Tails OS, you have to put the password for persistent storage. If you put the password, you can store the browser bookmarks, you can store the Wi-Fi password, and even some of the important document. Let us suppose you have created some document and you want to keep it stored. That will get stored in the encrypted persistent storage, and it will only get decrypted if you have the right password. If you don't have it, it will not work. You can simply use starters, but the storage you cannot able to access. Okay, so they have this functionality through that you can use persistent storage and store some kind of private information over there. Okay, now one question I might ask to someone, if anyone is aware of, all those hackers who were doing the bad things, either CIA or the police would able to trace them. But as we have seen, there is no possibility to trace, right? So any idea how they will trace those guys? Or any one of the idea you can think of how people can reveal, even if you are using everything correctly, like you are using Tor, you are using HTTPS, and you are pretty sure that the the Tor or Tails OS which you have installed is also correct, then also people will able to find it out your location, because what people think that whatever we are doing in Tor browser, everything is secure. Like you cannot use gmail.com on Tor browser, because then it will reveal the identity, because the same IP is used by this Gmail that is registered. So anyone can map it and do that. But let us suppose even if you are not using Gmail and all those things, you are using a end-to-end encrypted uh, thing. But what I have seen, most of the people will get caught when they are uploading something. Like you have uploaded some photo, you have uploaded some video, and these photo and videos will be having the metadata, sometimes the location, sometimes more information, and even sometimes once you are uploading it, even in the end-to-end encrypted drives, I'm talking about even the Proton drive or any other drive which is specifically end-to-end encrypted, not like Google Drive, then also that data will get attached with all the metadata along with the IP address which you have used. Okay. So ideally, what people do, you don't need to use any other tool to share it, any other end-to-end encrypted drive here. So ideally, Tails OS provide you some kind of software which you can use. Like they provide Tor browser. They have also all those the wallet as well. Even they have this Thunderbird for the email client. They also have password manager. Along with that, they also have one more thing, which is nothing but Onion Share. What it does, you can only use Onion Share on Tor, not anywhere else. And through that, you can share the file. Means once you load any file on that Onion Share, it will create an .onion website type of link. And once you share that to someone, through that, someone could able to download it. And the same way, you can also able to receive it using Onion Share. So if you are doing these kind of stuff, you have to use Onion share, not other into in encrypted drive and all those things. Okay, anyone is aware of what is the full form of Tor? Because we have covered Tor multiple times. Anyone is aware of what is the full form of Tor? So as we are covering onion multiple times, so Tor itself is the onion router. Okay. So if you will ask the history is it was using by US Naval Research. I think it got started in 1990s. That time they have did onion routing. So they have started using onion routing in all those uh, for all the internal communication, and then they have made a patent of onion, and I think after that the Tor project comes in 2002, and after that the free license came, and then after free license anyone can use it, not just the US government. And then yes, they keep evolving, and then they started Tails and all those things. So yeah, till now, anyone has any doubts or anything, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we will also see some other ways to, or if let us suppose I don't want to use Tor, is there any other thing also I can use it? Because maybe my concern is not, or I don't want to use USB, one thing, or maybe I want to use, but I want to use on top of Windows machine, or I don't want to use dual boot. I just want to do something in virtual machine. Then what should I do? So these things we will see. But before that, if anyone has any question, feel free to stop and ask me. Otherwise, I'm moving ahead. So Tails, we have seen what are the software they have. They have all those software. They also have Onion Share, which you can use it for sharing and all those things. You can use it. Yes, one person may ask or will say we can't use email services in Tor. So the thing is, yes, maybe Gmail may not work, or even if works, you should not use it. Proton has that onion version of their link, so that you can do that. But even if Proton is not giving you error on Tor browser, I will always recommend to use Qta.com. They have the email provider. And sometimes I feel it is more safer than Proton. Everyone has a different opinion, but in my opinion, I feel like they have better privacy, and that they also have an onion link, and that you can use and use that thing as well. Okay, so yes, anyone has any doubt? Otherwise, we will see some of the other operating system which we can use apart from Tails. So Tails we will be only focusing on for privacy, and if you want to do the bootable thing for USB pen drive, which we can use it anywhere. Okay. Second, yes, one thing we missed it. So the missing thing was, let us suppose even we don't want to tell the ISP that we are using Tor. What you can do is you go to Tor project, go for bridges, and they are okay. So first thing is how actually ISP knows you are using VPN or Tor. That is my first question, right? So because VPN, how they will know? Because they VPN also have their public IP already registered. So I know that this IP is used by Proton. So most probably you might be using Proton VPN. If this IP is uh, something related to malware, I can see that you might be using malware VPN, or even I can see those things, right? Even for Tor also you can see that. Why? Because most of the public bridges are already available, and we can see you are using Tor and all those things. Means Ideally, this guy would not able to see it sometimes because it will only able to see until unless your router is capable enough to filter out all those things. Generally, the basic routers which we are using, the TP-Link one or those one, that is not sometimes sufficient enough to trace it out. But even in ISP, you will able to see it. Okay. But let us suppose I don't want to show this thing. What you can do is go to Tor project and request for the bridge. So request bridge Tor project. And this you should not do it while on the same IP. Okay, so here you can request the bridges for the Tor browser, and you can do it through email as well. Like you can send them the email using this. Make sure you are not adding anything in the subject or these things. They will share it. Even if they're not, you can also generate it through their website itself. And I can tell you when. Because it might happen that you are in the country where Tor is also banned. Then you will say, I could not able to use Tails, right? Because ISP itself will see whenever ISP, uh, let us suppose a country A, they have banned Tor. They will say, no, you can't use it. So whenever you will try to access the Tails OS, the ISP will see you are you trying to use Tor, they will not forward it. They will block the connection, right? So then you don't want to show them that you are using Tor. You just want to remove them. How you can do it? You have to use a private bridge, which is not publicly available and which you can add it. You will ask me how. Once you are doing the Tails connect automatically, that time, even if you're using Tor browser, I can show it to you. The photo, if I can find it out in the image. I can show it to you. So yeah, uh, okay. So let me show this one. Okay, it should not be visible correctly. Let me find any better one if I have. Okay, let me open that only. So here, once you choose this, there is always a configure connection, and once you click on this, even tells you will get it even the starter time itself. But let us suppose you are using the basic Tor browser itself, then you can configure the connection and you can create a bridge for that. So you can use a website. You can go to this bridge website. You can go there. You can go to the Telegram bot as well. I haven't tried the Telegram bot, but email you can try. Website you can try. Okay. Here in the website, you have to choose. See, if you don't know anything about what is OBS4, what is WebTNL and none, I would just say just click on just give me a bridge and it will give to you the bridge. Okay. Otherwise, if you will ask me which one would you choose, I would prefer choose OBFS4 and click on get bridges. Yes, if anyone has any doubt or something. Are not the headers encrypted in HTTPS request? Headers are, but at least ISP know which website you are visiting because most of the ISP uh, will be aware of this once you are putting because that translation will be happening and that time they will able to understand in the HTTPS all the content and all those things would be encrypted but not your location and not the site because once you are visiting google.com you just need to find that website so you will that the static IP allocation for that right then ISP can get to know which site you are visiting and which location you are. They might not see all those header or this user or these data but at least they can easily see the browser site and the location for you. Yeah, anyone has any other question they can ask? Sorry, I missed that question because I saw a little late. Okay, so we were discussing about the bridges. So, okay, so in the bridges, what will happen? Okay, so I will explain you. So, the bridges, it will show that you have connected to some bridge which is not known, so it is not Tor, and what you are doing it, they will not be aware. So, they might be thinking, means once I'm calling they, that means ISP might be thinking that, okay, you might be working for some company and you are just trying to access the private node, then they will allow you, and from that node you can connect to the top. So ISP cannot even block. So even country will say we are blocking it. They cannot idly block it if you can use the bridge. So once you click there, you will get the bridge information. I don't want to click it because I'm not using any VPN right now. Right now, my I don't want to connect through it. But if you're using a VPN or those things, you can click on it. You can connect it and do that, use that. So this way, you can also remove this vulnerability that without using VPN, just using a bridge, you can bypass the ISP and ISP will never know whether you are using Tor. You might say, okay, this ISP may be aware. Yes, this ISP may be aware, but this ISP don't know that you are the one who is visiting the Tor, because this ISP knows your location but don't know whether you are using Tor. This ISP know you are using Tor, but they don't know from which location, because the request is coming from the last relay, which might be Germany, which might be Norway or any other country. So they cannot even map this until or unless this bridge got get compromised. Okay, then only, and that is a very hard scenario. Okay, so yeah, till here, anyone has any doubts, feel free to ask or interrupt me. Otherwise, we will cover the another. Let us suppose if I want to run it on virtual machine, then maybe I will not use Tails. And second thing, if I don't believe on bridges, okay, because let us suppose I don't believe the bridge which I'm using is correct or not, or it may be harmful for me, then I might not use Tor. There is another OS then I will use. Because in Tor, what will happen? Even you are using all those encryption and everything, but even if you click anything wrong, malicious here, what will happen? Something will get downloaded here, and then maybe he will able to find it out your all routes. So there could be an issue in Tails, like if hacking or something would happen. So that's why you have to make sure that you are not, even if you're using a Tor browser, you need to make sure the JavaScript should be disabled. So you should not somehow click on the website and internally the JavaScript would run. So you just need to make sure. If someone would do that, then what they can do, they can put a keylogger here. So what you are typing, they will able to get it. Maybe they will also make some changes in the BIOS and then they can hack it. So there are so many ways as well in the using Tor browser that you can get hacked. But the chances are very minimal, and not a normal person would do that. But let us suppose, yes, this is a possibility. I don't want to use Tor for that. Then you can use Unix, which if you are using VM, in VM in virtual machine, you can just run this Unix and you will able to run it. Now you will ask, okay, how it is better than Tor? Because in Tor, what will happen? There is only one operating system or one machine which is taking care of everything. Once I'm saying taking care of everything means this OS is connected to the internet. So if I can use Paint for a second, I can explain you a little better. So once I'm saying Tails, so Tails itself is this hardware, right? This machine. This machine is connected to the internet, and the same machine you are using it for your internal keyboard logging and all those things, right? There is no routing and anything happening. This is for Tails condition, okay? But in Unix, what will happen? There will always be two VM. So if something goes wrong, your device will get compromised, right? Something you download correctly or maybe you clicked on some other website, this device get compromised. Okay. Unix has used a different approach in that the problem is Unix cannot be used on USB. So you cannot boot it from USB. If you want to use this Unix, you have to run it on a virtual machine. Okay. This way. Okay. Now I will go back quickly, and in that, what will happen? They create one VM in which you will do everything. Okay, so this is the machine in which you are doing everything, but this will never be connected to the internet. So this will never get infected. I'm saying never, but it will not get infected. Okay. Then you will say, okay, if it is not connected to the internet, how we will access the internet? So here the thing was there would be another virtual machine which is isolated that will connect to the internet. So if anything wrong happen, this VM will get affected. But the problem is this VM don't have the storage. Means it is not storing all your personal information and everything because everything is what you are doing is this machine. This virtual machine, think like just a router which will take the information and encrypted information and send it here. So this device don't know anything what you are doing. This will only connect to the internet and what you are trying to connect that will send those information. So this is an isolated thing. So this is isolated. So it is more hard to get hacked virtually because Tor might get hacked. It might happen like you might done something wrong in this thing and you might have downloaded something fishy and it might happen. But in this case, even if you click on wrong thing, it is very, very hard to compromise your machine because that itself is not connected to the internet. So if anything will get, this will get affected, but all the communication is encrypted. So then it has to decrypt, and this is like they will never able to know your real IP address because people will only able to know the real IP address once they access this thing. Once they access this thing, once they are accessing the gateway, they will never know the exact data. Okay, so this is little bit more secure, but the problem is if your Windows itself is affected, then you can't do anything because the Windows is affected, then virtual machine is affected, then everything would happen. And this Unix cannot run on bare metal. Once I'm saying bare metal means it cannot run or boot directly from pen drive, hard disk, and all those things. Okay. Now you may ask, what wrong with this? Only the wrong thing is if your Windows get affected because it cannot run bare metal. If Windows is affected, in Windows itself they can put a keylogger and everything. Then even if you're running a Unix machine or virtual machine, whatever you are doing can get compromised. So everyone has a pros and cons here. If you see, Tails was also having some pros and cons, and here Unix also has some pros and cons here. Yep, anyone has any question or any doubt they can ask. Otherwise, there is another one which I will not cover it right now, but I will just give you if you want to try any other third option. This is the one which I would suggest. This is also Linux distribution. You can download and use it. That is also for security purpose. If you'll ask me how it is secured, here they divide into three parts. Okay, so what you are doing, so here the thing will get changed. So here if I will change this thing from here, don't save it. So what they do, they have a bigger machine, but they divide the data into three parts. I'm talking about Cubase OS. So in this, the admin panel would be different, virtual machine. So then there would be a normal thing which you are doing that would be on different. Let us suppose you are doing a banking stuff that would be on different, and then maybe you are using a into encrypted vault or something. That should be in different VM. So what I'm trying to say is Cubase OS will help you, like if this get compromised, let us suppose the browsing you are doing that get compromised, so this data will get compromised because that is on different VM that is very hard to crack. And the same thing, because if you want to get access from here to here, you need admin portals access, and that is also very, very hard because admin would be running on master VM, which is very hard to crack because then you have to make connection from here to here. Okay. So I believe you will able to get a basic how these things would work. Then maybe you might think, okay, even if you are using Tor, we are not aware of the Onion browser and like what are the website you have. Maybe there are some website or the wiki pages where you will find those website, but just want to cover the DuckDuckGo. If you want to use, they also have their Tower Onion website. If you search it, you will find it. Uh, yes, so this is the one. Okay. And wherever you are seeing this Onion extension, you can only able to use using Tor if you cannot use a normal browser to do that. Okay. So yeah, that's all from my side. Hope you learned a lot here. And if you have any doubts or anything, you can just let me know. I hope at least I'm able to cover the previous doubt which you were having, like, okay, how Tor works, how these things work. I think with this GIF or this diagram, it was little bit understanding what I'm assuming right now. So yeah, please feel to ask any question, anything like regarding Tails, anything regarding another which we have covered. If you have any doubt on Unix, any doubt regarding, feel free to ask. If you are not having any doubts, we are good. What I will do, I will share those links in the group itself so you can also see and learn it more. So yeah, that's all from my side. If you have any questions, any doubts or anything, feel free to ask.